welcome to the AYTM.com Progressive Matrix tutorial video. In this video, I will show you AYTM's unique solution of a very common grid question type. You will learn how to organize similar questions in a matrix, choose the best settings for the job to produce the optimal experience for your respondents, and read the results on our stats page. The noble idea behind any matrix question is to save respondents time by grouping similar questions in a table under the same header. It saves time because once they read a question, they don't have to reread it for every item they're rating. It sounds great in theory, but it takes a significant cognitive toll on respondents. Researchers often don't realize that before long, they're putting a few dozen labels and 100 boxes in front of respondents, asking them to make 100 decisions. Our brains are good at capturing the most important item out of a few options in front of us, but we start lagging when we're asked to consider over 7 items, let alone 100 combinations. No wonder respondents typically hate the matrix questions and try to find the shortest way out. Unfortunately, this can compromise the quality of your data. Since we cherish the user experience here at AYTM, we chose to solve this problem by developing our own version of the matrix question type. Our progressive matrix solves the usual user issues by focusing respondents' attention on one column or one row at a time, a process we call progressive flow. This way, all their attention is focused on one entity and a manageable number of answer choices. After selections are made for this small, manageable cluster of answer options, they can move on to the next column or row, depending on how you set it up, and choose among the same answer choices for the next item on the list. They can come back and make edits to the earlier items they selected while they're on the page, but this approach allows us to take full advantage of the constant headers and answer choices and walk respondents through the answer clusters without overwhelming them. Another set of problems we fixed is the user interface, or UI. Classic answer grids have uneven sizing of columns and lines, dictated by the length of their labels. Some are too long and take a few lines, stretching that row or column and creating an extra visual emphasis for it, which may introduce additional bias to your data collection. As you can see, in our UI, everything is neat and even. Okay, let me show you how to set it up in the editor. We'll start you off with 3 matrix sub-questions and 2 matrix answer options. You need to have at least 2 items in each list for the question type to work, but you can have up to 7. Going beyond 7 might be risky, especially if you think about how your question will appear on respondents' mobile devices, but it is still possible. Please reach out if you would like to discuss our options beyond DIY. The most important thing about these 2 lists, the sub-questions and the answers, is that the items in the first list should be treated as the entities you're testing, and the items in the second list should be treated as the answer options, because this is how we will present the data on your stats page. In my example, I put famous fast food restaurants in the first list and frequency of use in the second. Each restaurant on the stats page will have its own chart with its own frequency breakout in addition to the aggregate stats. If I were to swap the lists here, I'd be dealing with a very puzzling series of charts titled Once or Twice a Month with restaurants as answer options below, which isn't exactly the most useful. You will notice that the question's price will increase as you add more sub-questions. That's because it'll add steps to the survey-taking process, and each step will take extra time and consideration for respondents. Items in each list can have illustrations and be either randomized or anchored at their positions. Answers can also include options such as Other Please Specify with an optional open-ended field, and Not Applicable, or NA, which will mute any other answers in the corresponding row or column. Now let's set up our rows and columns. Each list can be populated either across the top or vertically in the left column. You can toggle this setup by clicking this curved double-arrowed icon. Please note how the row and column labels are switched, and the icons in front of the fields indicates the new position of the labels. Let's take a look at how my question would be presented to respondents if I were to leave brands at the top with 1 for each column. Now let's switch and see how they would look if each brand were on the left and had its own row. When progressive flow is on, you can also set up the minimum required and maximum allowed number of checkboxes. You can set them up just as you would for the regular checkbox question type, and we'll enforce the rules for you in our survey widget. Here I have set a minimum of 1 and a maximum of 2 checkboxes. If a respondent doesn't satisfy the requirements, a red error message will appear, along with a triangle pointing to the problem row or column. This error message will only appear in your preview if you're viewing your survey in respondent mode. If you need to set it up so that only one checkbox can be selected, you'll have to switch to the single choice or radio button mode at the bottom. This is because checkboxes are always used in market research for multiple choice questions, so it would be very confusing for respondents to encounter checkboxes for single choice questions. Please note that the progressive flow feature is on by default and will read either row by row from top to bottom or column by column from left to right, depending on how your sub-questions are presented. In rare cases, you may need to launch this question type without progressive flow. We encourage you to think twice before disabling it, but you may still use this option. Please test your survey thoroughly before launching it. Let's now take a look at the stats page. The first chart that you'll see is an aggregated percentage stacked columns chart. It'll present each entity as a column, in this case fast food brands, and highlight answer choices with different colors for each frequency of use answer option. At first glance, we see that, among these brands, Arby's and Chick-fil-A have the largest amount of dark blue, which is the never answer option. Below the main chart, we'll show you individual charts for each entity tested. These charts can be shown as pie charts, columns, or bars when you change the view mode option. The view mode can easily be changed here in the upper left corner of the page. If you're using our automated crosstabs or statistical significance testing, progressive matrix can be used as a banner. It can also be explored further in Personality Radar. If you are not familiar with these advanced market research and data visualization tools, please watch the corresponding videos from our tutorial library. That's it for now. Thanks again for watching, and feel free to ping us with questions or to set up a personal demo.